Welcome again to Joe Stunner Boxing. If you were compiling a top 10 pound for pound list of fighters nowadays, it would be a brave man who would leave Jesse Bam Rodriguez off that list, because I think he is one of the top 5 fighters in the world, certainly. And he has a unification, super flyweight unification fight coming up against a South African guy, rather unheralded, by the name of Phumelela Cafu. Now, Phumelela Cafu is the WBC super flyweight champ, and he won this last year, October last year. He beat Kozai Tanaka, who, if memory serves, I think is a two-weight champ. I think he held a flyweight belt, and I believe he was the WBO super flyweight champion at the time. And the unheralded, unbeaten Cafu went over to Japan and won a split decision. I must say, I watch a lot of Japanese boxing. I have to say the judging over there is almost always fair. We see a lot of crazy judging. I did a video recently about, yesterday I think it was, about judges, about how, the subjectivity of scoring fights and everything. But whenever I watch Japanese boxing, nearly always the judges get it right on point. So it can be done. Good judging does exist. I don't know whether this is a cultural thing, because the Japanese, they do have a sense of honor, especially with their combat sports. They don't approve of skullduggery or, there's just honor is taken very seriously in Japan. So I don't know whether that's a reflection of it, but Cafu won the belt from Tanaka. Kozai Tanaka, as I say, I'm sure he held a WBO flyweight belt at some point, and he might have even held a light fly. He might be I think he's a three-weight world champ. I think with the WBO, he's held light fly, fly, and superfly, I believe. WBC superfly. So anyway, he's taking on. Cafu defeated him, and Cafu is taking on Bam Rodriguez, and is a rank underdog for very good reason. He's undefeated. He's got 11 wins with 8 KOs, no defeats, 3 draws. 3 draws that came. I think they were I think they were early on in his career. One of them might have even been his second fight or third fight, but he remains undefeated, and all of his fights, bar the Tanaka fight, were in South Africa. Now I've got to be honest, I've only seen the Tanaka fight. I don't remember ever seeing Cafu fight in other fights. South African boxing, it's very difficult. I don't think there's much of it that gets broadcast in the UK. But he's 26. He's got some ability. If you watch the Tanaka fight, Tanaka, very, very skillful fighter, got floored. I think it was the 5th round by Cafu. And as tough as these Japanese kids are, he came back, and it was a very close fight indeed. I'd go as far as to say, I think there was a point on each card. It was by a point or something like that. But the knockdown kind of, I suppose, might have made the difference. I don't know exactly what the breakdown of the cards was. But Tanaka, a tenacious, tough guy, and yet Cafu tamed him in his own backyard, and deserves a lot of credit for that. But of course, his reward, it's a case of be careful what you wish for. It's probably a big payday for him, is against Jesse Bam Rodriguez, also undefeated in 21 fights, 14 KOs, no draws, no defeats, only 25 still. And when this kid first came on the scene, he won a split decision. No, it wasn't. It was a unanimous decision, wasn't it, over Carlos Quadras. And that was that was 3 years ago now, I think 3.5 years ago maybe. But he came from nowhere. He was actually, I think, at the time, a light flyweight, and he jumped up all the way to Superfly and picked up a belt out of the blue. I think he was only about 21 at the time. I think he was the first boxer born this century to win a world title. I think that's true. Anyway, people were saying, well, yeah, he's a good kid, but he's still a prospect. He won a vacant belt against Quadras. Well, he then went in with Swissakat Sorongvasai and stopped him in 8 rounds. And Sorongvasai is a tough fellow, a tough fighter. And then he goes on. He moves back down. I think there was a defence, wasn't there? Was it Gonzalez or Israel Gonzalez? But then he came down. He came down to flyweight from superfly. Ended up winning a belt. Had a unification with Sonny Edwards, where he stopped Sonny in 9 rounds. Sonny retired after 9 rounds. Corner pulled him out. And then he had what was a remarkable victory, really, over Juan Francisco Estrada. He'd already beaten Quadras and Sorongvasai, who were considered 2 of the best 4 lighter-weight fighters, flyweights to bantamweights of the last 15, 20 years. And then he fights Juan Francisco Estrada, gets put on the floor. Was that the fight? Bam was on the floor, wasn't he? It was just a flash knockdown. But he put Estrada down. Was it the 4th and then the 6th? No, it was a body punch. He knocked him out in the 7th, didn't he, with a body punch? Yeah, he knocked him out. It was a body punch knockout. And for Juan Francisco Estrada, I mean, fantastic fighter, brilliant resume. Twice beat Chocolatito Gonzalez, although I do think Gonzalez won 2 of those fights. And since then, that was about a year ago, actually, that victory. And since then, Bam Rodriguez has beaten Pedro Guevara, who was outgunned totally. Stopped him in 3 rounds, knocked him out. I think he was on the floor a couple of times in the 3rd round, and just mismatch, really, to be honest with you. Even though Guevara came in with like 42 wins, 4 defeats, and 1 draw, he was completely outclassed by Bam. Now, Bam is 25 at the moment. I don't think, I think he's just not long turned 25. He's a southpaw, and he really has got every move in the book. Beautiful footwork as well. Power puncher. Only 14 KOs out of 21 wins, but he hits a lot harder than that percentage suggests. He's from San Antonio, Texas. I think you'd call him an aggressive box fighter because he is very front-footed, but at the same time, it's all done with good technique. There's nothing. It's nothing fly-by-night, And interestingly, he has a Riyadh fight against another undefeated fighter, Fernando Martinez. He has one scheduled after the Cafu fight. The Cafu fight is on, I think it's this coming Saturday. So he's actually assuming, or his people are assuming, that he's going to beat Cafu, wipe the floor with him. And if I'm being honest, even though I've only seen the Tanaka fight with Cafu, I think Cafu will do very well to survive 12 rounds with Bam. Can I see him winning? No, I can't. Unless Bam gets really sloppy and is looking forward to the Martinez fight and doesn't take Cafu seriously. Then, of course, anything... I mean, there have been bigger upsets than Cafu beating Bam Rodriguez, don't get me wrong, but I think that if he's on it, Bam, if he's physically prepared, if he's mentally prepared, he wins. And I think he wins probably by stoppage in about 8 rounds. But Cafu, as with a lot of the little guys, he does fire a lot of punches. He's quite an aggressive fighter himself. But again, when I look, what I've seen of Cafu, I mean, he likes to sort of, as with a lot of these African fighters, he likes to throw a lot of punches, be very front-footed, be very aggressive. But unlike Bam, I think he throws what I would say punches for the sake of it. With Bam, every punch looks like there's a reason behind it. He picks his punches very, very well. He was on the floor, like I say, in his last but one fight, so he can get caught. But I think if you have a cavalier attitude, and of course if you're facing someone as good as Juan Francisco Estrada, then you're going to risk hitting the floor, getting tagged yourself, and it was only a flash knockdown. Does Cafu have the punch power to hurt Bam? Not really. Well, I mean, anyone can be hurt, I suppose. 8 KOs out of 11 wins, but against South African fighters, far, I mean, leagues below Bam. I can't really make a case for Cafu winning this fight. He might win rounds. I wouldn't rule that out, certainly. I don't think this would be, shall we say, a repeat of Bam's previous fight against Guevara. But on the other hand, the kid's so good, you just never know. I mean, I think Bam's a real threat. I think he's a terrific fighter and probably headed for the Hall of Fame unless he comes apart at the seams very dramatically and drastically and quickly. So I see Bam, I see Cafu giving a very good account of himself. I don't think he'll just roll over at all. I think he'll be there slinging punches and trying the damnedest. But I see Bam stopping him in about 8 rounds or less. Maybe, if I have to pick a section of the fight, between the 5th and the 8th, I would say. But a stoppage win for Bam, whatever part of the fight it is. So that's my opinion. You may agree with it, you may disagree. Please leave your own opinions below and explain why you're picking fighter A or fighter B. I've got a hunch most of you will pick Bam Rodriguez, but you tell me. And maybe you know more about Cafu than I do. Maybe you've seen more of him and he's some sort of hidden gem. It is possible. It's possible. And upsets do happen. But I make Jesse Rodriguez a big, big favourite in this fight. Let me know your opinion. Leave it below. If you like this video, please hit the like button. And also, subscribe to the channel. Go on, do us a favour, because you're a generous person. And we've got lots and lots of videos for you. And you're a boxing fan and I'm a boxing fan, so why wouldn't you subscribe? Come on, build the channel up. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Much, much appreciated, and I will speak to you soon. Bye for now.